Rise and shine, it's time to grind. It's the Heart Hatter coming to you live with another episode of Hatchet. Today is a super awesome episode because I'm gonna be sharing with you guys the day that opened my mind up to allow me to finish the imperfectly perfect work of art that's as big as my van. It started out in California with my other piece called Rejected, but this is the tangible art piece to my 7-minute long NFT. It's super deep, it's super awesome, but I don't want to, what's the word? Spill the beans. I say we are all imperfectly perfect. And when we look at it from a different point of view, it is, I am perfectly perfect. I say we are all perfectly perfect the way we are. And we all have our own color palette that we get to start off with. We mix and mold our colors that have been given to us on our palette scheme. And we get to create whatever it is that we want to create. I think motivation is knowing that we are all connected and intertwined together. It's also very motivating to know that we are all human and that we all mess up and we all have been through a black pit and we've all gone through our own spirals. Yet God has the light at the end of the tunnel. And we just have to accept that we are imperfectly perfect. And that the best way to be used is just to let go and be used. And we have to grow, taking two separate paths to what eventually leads to the end of our life. So let's jump back in the van and start off with just my memories. The memories of the day that changed it all. The day of SLAB City, Balboa Park, and the Salton Sea. Whoop-de-dee, here we go. Ha! Boom. The last free place, SLAB City, here we are. This is the wild, wild west. Nobody has any property here, you claim it yourself. This is awesome. We're gonna go to the gift shop, start the day off over here, see what's going on, go to Salvation Mountain. And wow, this is my type of world. So the entrance to the slabs was crazy. I've only heard about SLAB City from a movie that I watched called Into the Wild, and it's an awesome story, and if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. But as I was driving into SLAB City, I mean, it is complete desert. It is the last wild frontier, the wild, wild west. There's no law, there's no police, there's no nothing. If you want to duel some fisticuffs for some property, you can. We're in Ponderosa. Man, beautiful. I started the morning off lost in the desert. I found a place that had its own hot springs, and it was super awesome. I mean, I was under the stars. I had my own hot spring. It wasn't, I don't know if it was the most sanitary, but it was definitely all natural. So maybe I was soaking up all my minerals right before I hit this crazy adventure. Would you look at this? A hot spring. Woo! And it really is, it's really hot. Woke up this morning to a super beautiful view. We're about 10 minutes away from SLAB City. Salton Sea's right down the road. Randomly ran upon it yesterday. And so I'm gonna go back there today and check it out. I ended up jumping in my car and driving out towards the sea. I want to go jump in the water, and I looked it up and realized that the Salton Sea is actually a dead sea. But I ended up finding this chair, and the chair was, well, it's kind of where I started to realize I was in a weird spot. Sat down in the chair and immediately was just like, why did I sit in this chair? But it was a cool view. I got to see the whole entire ocean front, or sea front, as there was this swing sitting in the middle of it. It was kind of an eerie feel. And I jumped into my van and started to head towards the star, which is this ginormous, I mean, one of the biggest stars that you've ever seen, made out of concrete and all sorts of other things. but the structures were amazing, just sitting out on the beach. Beautiful. My first place that I pulled up to was called the Viper Lounge, the VIP-er lounge. The guy, his name was Jimmy. Jimmy was the owner of the VIP-er lounge, and he was super nice and ended up kind of giving me a tour of everything. Welcome to the Viper Pit.
Because that's what happens. I'm gonna send this to my son.
SLAB City, all this stuff. There's 6 major artists here, and they make everything here. Live music, live art. This is beautiful. Waterproof map from the VIP Viper Pit. Signed by the man himself, Mr. Jimmy. Oh, here it is.
It's already wrapped up. I just wanted to show you where his name was.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to use it. Boom. My man. Let's go. This right here was the lifesaver. It's the secret to knowing the slabs. This is the SLAB City, handmade, hand-drawn on waterproof paper. This is the map of the whole city, the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. So we left Jimmy's and we headed towards the Solar Whale in Salvation Mountain. As I was pulling up to Salvation Mountain, you could see it off in the distance, and it was a breathtaking sight, and the closer you got, the more gigantic it became. And it was created by a man named Leonard Knight. Leonard Knight was a man who lived out in the slabs for over 30 years doing this project. He had over 300,000 gallons of paint that was given to him. And he says, love is universal and Jesus is love. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. This is thousands and thousands of hay bales all put together. Oh my gosh. Look at this, guys. After that, we headed towards the Tree of Souls. I pulled up to this tree and it looked so sad, and it was burnt to a crisp, like people had roasted 1,000 marshmallows on it or something. Maybe they just had a million bonfires, but it was just a toasted tree. I ended up driving down the road and actually running into the real Tree of Souls. Boom, so that place we just saw, I thought was the Tree of Lost Souls. But this is the Tree of Lost Souls. People pass away out here and they leave their shoes here. So this right here is pretty special. The Tree of Lost Souls. Here's the solar whale right here. A bunch of college kids came out here, put a bunch of solar panels together and made this whale. It's pretty cool. The solar whale. Wow, what an art piece. Wow, right in front of our faces. Cross that one off the map. On to the next one. So after the solar whale, I drove down the road to meet up with the soap maker, the soap master, Miss Penny. It was a super awesome spot, and before it was the Penny's house, it was called the Last Resort because it was actually a hostel that people could stay in and rent out a room if they needed to. I got to see her whole house. She has trinkets for sale, different rocks, different stones, etc. And it was really, really awesome to see that. She was a very loving lady and really opened up and welcomed me in. She was awesome. She signed it right here for me. I got pretty much everybody who's a big timer over at the SLAB City. I got their autographs. So thank you guys, gals, aliens, things, creatures, whoever you may be. So we got into SLAB City and we headed straight to Dot's house. And Dot is just famous for her library. She has over 3,000 books in 2 separate libraries. She has the Skeletorarium and family of cats that are awesome. So she is an artist herself, and she has collected bones and collected skeletons from all over the slabs and created a museum. Boom, there she did. She signed it right there, House of Dots. Right there next to East Jesus. We passed the range, but not only did I get one signature, I got two. Boom. Let's go. I mean, literally, there was not one single person. So I started to take these little bitty paths. They had everything from boats to ships, golf carts, snowmobiles, forts with hidden layers. I ended up coming in and seeing like 50 TVs, just, I mean, maybe more, just stacked up everywhere. I felt like I was just in a crazy maze that never ended. Any way you took was the right way. There was art pieces there with lots of meaning that you could really understand. There was a lot of art pieces there that you really didn't understand what the meaning was. But I know that every single bit of art there had some form of meaning. It wasn't there just to be cool. I think cool today is not cool tomorrow. And art has to have a story and has to have something that's supposed to change somebody's life. And by walking through SLAB City, I think that every single bit of art there had some type of wild story. Something super deep, super emotional, something real. So overall, this was such a great experience. It was motivation for me to jump into the unknown even more. I met a guy at the very end. As I was driving back out, I needed food. I hadn't had water all day and I was just starving and hungry, about to die, I felt. This guy came out of nowhere and he was like, man, you need some tacos. He was preaching the word and sharing love. And if there's one thing that I wrote, it's this. We all have to have faith in the presence and in the absence of fear. We all have to look ourselves in the mirror. We have to dig deep, dive deep, and jump into the unknown. Knowing that by faith, God has us. God never changes. And though things may seem impossible to us, it's always possible with God, and whatever He wants to happen will happen. At the end of the day, God is the King of the universe. Let's go. We are imperfectly perfect, but we are all tied together with a great story. And that is the motivation of Imperfectly Perfect to finish it. Boom. Heart Hatter Hat Chat out.